take it away. Apple, what do you think?
Yeah, it looks okay. It's not perfect. It's not totally clean, but it's got some good stuff. It's got some, okay stuff.
Go ahead, Carol.
Well, what's good? What's okay?
I, I mean, just going against my numbers, it looks like services is much stronger than I expected. iPhone was good. iPad was surprisingly good. I don't know if anyone tracks that anymore, but iPad was good. And gross margins were better than expected. I've been a little cautious about gross margins in consumer companies lately because memory prices are going up. But that's not, I don't see that in Apple's numbers. So, the China stuff, you pointed that out. I think that's concerning, not entirely surprising.
It's not surprising, but it's 12% below consensus. Why? So it surprised some people.
Yeah, I mean, just given the state of the world, I think expecting too much from an American company selling into China right now is going to always disappoint. But hopefully we have a trade deal and that all goes away.
It's a trade truce, I think, is the way that we heard about it today.
Trade truce.
Is a trade truce enough for that to go away?
I think so. I think more practically, what was going on in China is the iPhone Air is not available there. It's hard to get here. Production hasn't fully ramped yet, and I think that's going to be the real hit, right? And this is Apple. They know how to get their supply chain in time for the year-end holiday shopping season. And I don't think the iPhone Air is readily available in China. So I think that will help. And so if you're a Chinese consumer and you're looking at it, you see the iPhone Air coming, you're going to hold off on your iPhone purchases now and wait for that.
All right, shares of Apple now up about 1% here in the aftermarket, so bouncing around, no doubt about it. Our Mark Gurman on our live blog, who covers Apple and often is breaking exclusives on the company, noting that while China is harsh, they are likely pleased, investors, they are likely pleased with the overall revenue growth of 8%, the giant services number, that's something Jay just pointed out, and the 6% year-over-year iPhone growth, overall a solid quarter. So top of mind for you, what is it that what do you want to know more from when it comes to Apple here, Jay?
I think I'm willing to wait on the AI story. I know your previous guest was talking about that, and he's absolutely right. The AI story is important for Apple, but I don't think it's important today. I can wait 6 months, 9 months, a year for them to sort it out. Right? Remember when Apple Maps launched, 10 years ago? It was terrible. It was a joke. Now I use Apple Maps more than I use Google Maps. It's gotten better. Sometimes Apple just takes a while to get there. So I'm okay waiting with it. They need to solve it. That's really important, but they don't need to solve it this quarter. I would like to just hear them talk about supply chain and what's going on in China and what's driving what are the dynamics in the iPhone business. I think that's the most important.
Is there a compelling reason for people to upgrade to 17, to the iPhone 17?
I think the Air is pretty intriguing. I'm on the fence. I usually upgrade every year. I think I'm going to hold out though because I'm pretty sure they're going to have a foldable phone next year. So that'll be exciting. But I think that everyone I talk to has the Air is just raves about it. Like they're enthusiastic about this iPhone in a way that I haven't heard people be enthusiastic about an iPhone in many years.
Just to rehash, we've got now shares of Apple up about 1.8% here in the aftermarket. So this is despite those disappointing sales in China, which did fall short of analyst estimates, but strong overall sales in the period. Hey, let's go to our LA bureau for a moment. We're going to come back to Jay Goldberg in just a minute or two. Mark Gurman is Bloomberg News Managing Editor for Global Consumer Technology. He is out there in our LA bureau. Mark, fascinating in a short period of time, 12 minutes, to see the stock being sold off a little bit to now rallying almost 2%. Walk us through this quarter. What stands out here?
Yeah, what stands out here is iPhone obviously grew tremendously, 6% year over year. They beat in nearly every product category except the iPad had an extremely slight miss on Wall Street forecasts. And again, those are just forecast numbers that get made up anyways. So I don't think too big of a deal there. The big one, though, is a big decline in miss in Greater China. I think some of that can be attributed to the iPhone Air delay, which was not expected. When they originally announced the iPhone Air, they anticipated a September release alongside the other models. That model has been doing decently in China since it was released just about a week ago now. The other thing to point out is the seesaw you saw. Originally, the stock dipped on the China development, and maybe iPhone sales weren't as strong as some had anticipated. But Tim Cook told news outlets that got pre-briefed on the Apple earnings results earlier today that the December quarter would grow 10 to 12% on an annual basis, which is obviously a fantastic jump for them. That is a year-over-year growth in the holiday period we have not seen for a very long time. And Apple hasn't provided guidance in a very long time because of COVID and everything that's happened since then. So it's pretty significant.
Yeah, shares up 2.9% as we speak right now. Mark, just one more question for you, and then I know you got to run. On China and the big miss on China, you said it's not too surprising, yet still came in 12% below consensus estimates. I'm not going to say Apple should throw in the towel in China, but how vulnerable is Apple in China?
They're certainly vulnerable in China, but they have obviously a big retail portfolio there of about 50 stores. As I've said multiple times, they need to start launching products that are specific to the Chinese market. They still don't have their AI strategy together in China. And so we'll see once AI is implemented in iPhones in China next year, if that begins helping turn some things around. And we'll see, we're going to have some pent-up demand in China now for the current quarter, the first quarter of the holiday period, because the iPhone Air didn't go on sale in September during the September period.
All right, Mark, we know you got to run over to the TV side, so appreciate you jumping on with us. Mark Gurman, he's Bloomberg News Managing Editor for Global Consumer Tech. Really, as we remind everybody, our go-to on Apple, breaking all these exclusive. And right now, the stock is trending higher, now up about 3.5%. I will point out that Mark mentioned some news that the chief financial officer had shared with some various media outlets. I'm just looking at the Financial Times. And again, just going back to that, Apple gave a bullish outlook for its crucial holiday sales period, reported record annual profit. Today, the CFO, Kevan, Parekh, saying Apple expects total company revenue to grow 10 to 12% year over year in the 3 months to December, with iPhone revenue growing double digits. So that's what Mark was talking about. And that is probably why we are seeing Apple shares do that turnaround, now up almost 4% in the aftermarket.
Yeah, pretty remarkable to see the turnaround. But, that's what happens. And you get more detail from executives. The call hasn't even started yet. So we'll wait for the call also to start, and maybe we'll see some more movement there too. Just to repeat, fourth quarter iPad revenue coming in ever so slightly below estimates at $6.95 billion. Products revenue coming in above estimates. Greater China revenue, a big miss there, $14.49 billion, 12% below consensus estimates of $16.43 billion. Fourth quarter earnings per share coming in above estimates at $1.85. Mac revenue beating at $8.73 billion. Fourth quarter services revenue also a beat there, $28.75 billion.
Quite a turnaround in the aftermarket trade. Let's go back. We've got still with us Jay Goldberg, Senior Analyst, Semiconductors and Electronics. He's got a buy rating on Apple. He's over at Seaport Research Partners. He's there in San Francisco. Also in San Francisco at the Bloomberg News Bureau, Ed Ludlow, co-host of BTech, joining us. Of course, that airs on Bloomberg Television. I do want to ask you, Ed, since you've had some moments too to look at that Apple release. We just talked with Mark Gurman about what the CFO has said to, I guess, sharing with some media outlets about Apple revenue growing 10 to 12% per year. Or year over year, in the final quarter of 2025, and what he sees with iPhone revenue growing double digits. I mean, that sounds pretty optimistic.
We can explain this. Pre-orders for the iPhone 17 started on September 12th. The iPhone 17 went on sale September 19th. They've just reported a quarter that ended on September 27th.
Okay.
So they had 8 days of data for the iPhone 17 generation. There is another outlet that clearly has had a briefing or an interview, and the CFO has guided very clearly on the trajectory of the iPhone 17 and its sales into the December quarter. And that's kind of what always happens. It doesn't explain necessarily or explicitly the Greater China numbers, though. And, Mark, I think, forgive me, I was covering for him. I was doing the blog and he was running on the... But
I think you said Apple's now up 3%. Markets are weird.
Markets are weird, but that's before I read
know.
the FT. But on Greater China, yes, the iPhone 17 Air did not go on sale because of the regulatory restriction on a handset that has eSIM design. Does that explain the full thing, really? Because, the most bullish estimates for Greater China saw revenue from that country of $17 billion. That's quite a gap to where they landed. And so maybe it's something else. But right now, I think we discussed this on this program before, right? It applies to both Tesla and Apple. If you're a consumer and you're faced with the choice of buying a domestic product or an American product, there is a pressure, and it's part of the calculus you have to make. We know that from the data.
We're speaking with Ed Ludlow. He's the co-host of Bloomberg Tech on Bloomberg TV, 11 o'clock Wall Street time. I want to bring in back Jay Goldberg, senior analyst, semiconductors and electronics with Seaport Research Partners. He's had some time to take a breath and look at some of these numbers. And I'm wondering if you've also had a time, Jay, to see that shares now up close to 3.3% or 3.4% in the after hours. Apparently, executives, including the company's CFO, telling the Wall Street Journal that total company revenue will increase 10 to 12% in the holiday quarter. Was that above your estimate? Was that above your expectations?
That's meaningfully above my estimate. That's pretty encouraging.
Why is that so encouraging to you? And why was it so far? Why is that so far above? Or why is that meaningfully above your estimate?
I think it comes down as simple as the 17 and the Air are good phones. And as much as we want to talk about services and AI and all that, sometimes it's just as simple as make good phone, number go up.
You make it sound so easy. There's a complicated supply chain in there too, I think.
Mark said we make up estimates, so I think it's that easy.
All right, I want to tell him you said that.